Hey, review family, keep it high, keep it tight. My name is Jay Morris, the review guy, reviewing music for the love of music, and I'm back again to bring you another video. So today I'm going to be launching the official podcast that I've been threatening to start for a while, interviewing a vast number of artists, musicians, producers, YouTubers, and just anything that falls under that spectrum in the metal scene. I have a very, very exciting one to start with for you guys, and that is Julien of Benighted fame, the lead vocalist of the band. Really appreciative that he sat down for this interview, and special thanks to Katie from Season of Mist for helping set this up as well. All of the relevant links if you would like to learn more about Benighted, listen to their material, or find him on social media will be down in the description box below. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy. All right, so thank you so much for being here. Would you like to give a little bit of an introduction of who you are?
Sure. So my name is Julien. I'm the singer of the French death metal band Benighted. And my band exists for 23 years now, which
It's insane to think about.
A little bit. So we are getting old, but we hold on, and we keep doing brutal music the way we like, and of course this last year was pretty hard, but we keep on doing music and hoping that the concert will be allowed soon again.
Yeah, fair, sure. I mean, so Obscene Repressed, it was a great record last year, and it gained a lot of acclaim all across the metal landscape for good reason, and sort of like you said of how last year was just rough on everyone, musicians, people, just anyone. I mean, it released sort of near the starting end of COVID, and it was the first record of you guys in the 2020s, as well as like 2 new band members. I was just wondering sort of, how'd the background work going into that album, and were there question marks since there was just so many different things stepping into that album compared to usual?
Well, of course, at first I would say that, yeah, COVID is definitely not the good situation to promote a new album. And yeah, we were very excited about releasing this new album because we wrote it pretty fast. I think we did it in something like 5 or 6 months. And we were very impatient to release it because it contains our usual formula. I mean, death metal spine music and a lot of influences like grindcore and black metal and something. And for the very first time, we tried to make the music fit perfectly the concept of the album. I mean, the lyrics, the theme. And we wanted this album to be like a horror movie, but for the ears, you know, not for the eyes. And we are very excited about all that we prepared in terms of disturbing atmospheres and very brutal parts and lots of groove in the music. But yeah, we are still waiting to promote this new album on stage because we only played 1 gig in 2020, and it was in Czech Republic, and we can't wait to keep on promoting the new album and the new tracks.
Yeah, I bet. Because, with the new members, through the evolution of the band, like countless lineup changes, whether it be specifically usually with guitars and bass, and of the like original lineup, being the lasting member, has it been a rocky slope for you throughout time of having to deal with like the constant adjustment of new players just so often at all?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult. It's true that it's difficult to always have to adapt to new musicians coming to the band. But fortunately, we had the luck every time someone was leaving the band, or we have to split apart with a member, to find a new guy who brings something more to the band and brings the band to another level. So, for example, for the last album, we have Kevin Paradis playing drums, and I think he's just the best drummer I ever played with. He's such a machine, and he's at the same time so technical, and he has a lot of feeling in the music. That his drumming parts are just amazing in Obscene Repressed. We are very, very proud to have such a killing machine at the drums in the band now. And I would say the lineup we have now is just perfect for stage because everybody is very, very good in his field, and the combination of our characters fits just perfectly. So
Well, yeah, when you say like new members that you want someone that takes it to the new level. And, Benighted's always been used alongside the term brutal. And sure, like for sure the heaviness has always played a massive role, but as a follower of the band for years now, the first release I heard being Asylum Cave, I feel as if like the songwriting has just become tighter and the playing has just felt more comfortable and at times technical and smart. And is this more so just the experience levels, or is it just a band that just has great chemistry together now?
I would say the most of the time we have one guitarist writing most of the stuff, and for example for Asylum Cave it was still Lim, I think, and then we had Adrian, and now we have Emmanuel, and we are very lucky to have every time we needed to change the guitar player, we found someone who has really huge writing skills. And I think Emmanuel is such an impressive music writer. He he finds new stuff all the time,
Yeah.
and it's very easy to write music with him because he's very very talented, and he has a lot of ideas. He's from a very musician school, I would say, and with my help, because I'm totally non-musician. For example, if you make me listen to some riffs, I mean, sometimes they say, "Hey, it can't work because it's not what musicians will do." But my ideas are anti-musicians, and it's for example, Emmanuel always said me, "Your idea, Julien, is fucking great because with my musician school, I would never have such crazy ideas like that because for me it's not musical, but it works, so we keep it."
I appreciate the anti-music sentiment.
Yeah, that's true. I've no, I have a, as I don't know how to play any instrument except maybe of drums, but nothing. I'm very not good, not good at all at drums.
Yeah.
But I have my own perspective, my own way of seeing the music, and I think it's pretty. Maybe that's what keeps the spirit of Benighted along the years, because I play a huge part in writing the new songs and the structure of the songs and the ideas for arrangement, for breaks and all that stuff. So maybe I'm the line of the music along the years, which keeps Benighted identity safe, I would say, but always with some new blood, which brings more interesting and more original stuff in our music.
It's sort of interesting that you say that, because it seems like no matter how many lineup changes there are, Benighted always sounds like Benighted. I think that's one of the coolest things, is even through guitar changes, bass changes, drum changes, how does it work exactly to keep the initial formula, to keep the initial sound that people have come to know and love and sort of that brand, while still pushing the sound into new directions? Because no matter how many lineup changes there are, like, all the Benighted records really do feel like Benighted records. Like, they never feel like they're just coming from a different world entirely. I find that really fascinating.
Well, I think I would say that we were very lucky at first, because every main writer, when he arrived, understood the spirit of Benighted and wrote the music the way it should sound for Benighted. The cool part is that no matter how would I say that, no matter how original and surprising things we try to write, my voice always make it sound like Benighted at the end, even if it's totally different. Like, for example, we like to try some black metal stuff sometimes. Yeah. And even if it's really, really typical black metal music, it sounds like Benighted because my voice brings it back in the global mix. So that's why we have a lot of space to experience some new stuff. We don't have any boundaries in music, because my voice will always bring it back to the Benighted identity, I guess.
Yeah, because you do have a very distinct tone, not only for deathgrind, but just for extreme metal as a whole. What were some of your biggest vocal influences, like when you were first getting into vocals, or even now? Are there any vocalists that specifically inspired you a lot for your specific style?
Well, at first, the very first band I listened to was Cannibal Corpse with Chris
Fair.
Barnes, and it was my main influence. Then I discovered Frank Mullen from Suffocation, and for nowadays, I would say that I really admire vocalists like Travis Ryan from Cattle
Cattle
Decapitation.
Decap, yep, for sure.
Yeah, he's such an amazing singer with a lot of variation in his voice. And also my friend Sven from Aborted. I mean, I fucking love his vocals. I would say those two singers. Also Dying Fetus, of course, because I fucking love this this very, this type of deep growl, and I'm really fond of this kind of voice. So
Yeah.
yeah,
What
John
people
Gallagher.
what people can do is insane sometimes, and like the grind and death grind scene, especially Travis, what he does with his voice, it's insane.
Yeah, totally. I agree totally. Yeah.
Yeah. So one thing that's sort of rare to see a foreign band in metal is, and this is something that stepping into the interview is something I knew I wanted to ask, is, you know, a band that boasts both lyrics in their native language as well as English, and at times even past that point, like on Asylum Cave. And for you guys, is there a determining factor for what language a song should be in, or does that impact the end result of a track at all, or how it's constructed?
Well, I would say that when we have a new song, the global atmosphere of the song leads me to choose a language or another. I mean, I love to write songs in French, for example, my own language, which is and it's strange because it's way more difficult to write in French, because us French people, we are very, very hard with our own language, and if you don't put an effort in the sentences and the which word you should pick up, it's very easy to sound stupid in French. So it's way more difficult to write in French than in English, for example. I also tried some German songs on I think it was on Asylum Cave.
Asylum Cave, yeah.
Yeah. And I think there's another German song on Necrobreed. Yeah, their doppelganger. And it's like a challenge for me, because I love what it brings to the spirit of a song to sing in a different language than English. I mean, English for me it's the easiest way to sing, but German and French brings something else, and I think unconsciously it leads me to give another energy and another way of pronouncing the words and put some intentions in the words that I wouldn't do in English.
Yeah. Well, that's understandable, because pushing a different language in a song, it can just so easily change the vibe of a song. Like even on Obscene Repressed or Asylum Cave, like when those songs come in, I definitely think it's interesting how you say like atmosphere can dictate what language a song should be in. Like it feels more like it's more fitting for that, and I think that definitely comes from the experience factor. So I think that's really awesome. So kudos to you for that, and kudos to the band for choosing that. Like I imagine that that's very difficult.
Yeah, but I love challenges. So for me, it's really a pleasure to improve myself in doing this. And every album I try to give myself some new challenges and try to find some new way of pushing my voice, and to keep things surprising. And I need to evolve from an album to another, because we don't like to repeat ourselves, and we really want every album to have its own surprises and its own spirit, and of course it includes the vocals as well.
Yeah. So with sort of circling back to Obscene Repressed, one thing I love about Benighted as a whole, and especially I think it was done some great justice on Obscene Repressed, is production has always been so clean and so tight on Benighted's projects that is it ever a challenge to make sure that everything is done the justice it deserves? Because with a sound that's so fast, chaotic, so much going on at once, is it ever difficult to really make sure that the sound design, the audio engineering is as tight as possible, as audible as possible?
Well, it's not very difficult, because we have the help of Christian Kohler, which is the sound guy of the studio where we record in Germany, the Kohler Keller studio, and we know Kohler for almost 20 years now, and he became a very close friend with the years. So every time we have a new album to record at the studio, we think together and we work together on what direction should we take for this album. For example, for Necrobreed, the spirit of the songs made us think that we should let the kind of fall the massive and clear sound we had on Carnivore Sublime and try something more dirty and more aggressive for Necrobreed, even if we lost a bit of clarity in the riffing of the final result. The songs of this album deserved a dirtier production to make it very special in the atmosphere and make it even more aggressive, you know. And for example, for Obscene Repressed, where the guitar riffing is more important and more precise than on Necrobreed, we came back to a more massive sound. And I think the only very disgusting thing on Obscene Repressed is the bass, which has to keep it to stay, of course, very very crunchy and like a truck.
Yeah, but it still does have a very great middle ground sound on Obscene Repressed. So I do commend you on that.
It's true.
With Obscene Repressed, was there at all sort of a question mark of when COVID was sort of hitting its peak around like the early part of last year? Were there any question marks of should we release this right now? Should we push it back? Like, should we delay it at all?
Well, at this time we had definitely no idea of what it would be, what COVID would be, and how long it would last. And I would never have imagined that we would still be in this now. Yeah. And to be honest, we didn't think of postponing the production because we were already very impatient to release it, and we had with all the each and every one of us personal situation, we wanted to stick to the plan. And I work as a nurse, and at this time I was called in COVID department to help with all the cases of the patients we got. So I wasn't very in the mood to to reschedule something, and I said, okay, let's do it, let's promote it the best way we can. And with all the frustration that we got, of course, not being able to play it live, but at the end, our fans were so fucking supportive, and they bought so much merch and ordered so many albums, and all the reviews we got were fantastic. So we were very happy about the records, despite the fact that we can't play it on stage. And for example, the most frustrating thing is that for the very day of the release party of the album, the release day of the album, I was in my bed. I got COVID in April, and I was in my bed with fever.
Oh, I am so sorry.
Oh, it's no problem, buddy. But I feel way better now, of course. But at this point, I was like, my God, I was supposed to play Inferno Festival in Norway. I should be at Inferno Festival celebrating the release of my album. And then I'm in my bed with a fever like 40 degrees or something. So
I'm so sorry about that. But I will say thank you so much for your service as a nurse. Like, I'm sure that there's a lot of very appreciative people. So thank you for that.
Oh, but that's my job. I'm always very happy to help, and it was a very difficult situation for everyone. So I was not. I saw a lot of very good people doing their best to help the way they could. So I was very happy to do my part, and I'm still doing my part now. As of course, COVID, we are not rid of this shit yet. Of course.
Yeah, for sure. So with Obscene Repressed, were there any specific influences, either, an album or a band that you just specifically really liked at the time, or, sort of circling back to how you said you always like to do things different. You don't like to stay in the same place for too long. Was there a specific idea of what direction you wanted to take Obscene Repressed into at all?
Well, I would say that we wanted to increase the darkest atmospheres on this album, to really make it sound like a horror movie for some parts. And also we wanted to bring back a bit more of hardcore in our music, because we really like to have groovy parts and this hardcore influence that we have since I would say Identisic probably. And we wanted to bring back a bit of hardcore in this album. Maybe that's the difference. I think that's the main difference between this one and Necrobreed.
That's fair. I can definitely hear like the hardcore influences, especially in some of the riffs and sort of the musical breakdowns that happen and breakups between stuff. So that's awesome to see. So one thing I always do to sort of just close out the thing is, what are the future plans of the band? Obviously, COVID probably fucked over touring, obviously, and who knows when it's going to get back to normal and all that jazz, but what are the future plans of the band? Is anything on your guys' mind of what the future may hold?
Well, so far we released 2 new tracks. You know, the first one was a track, the name of the track was Serve to Deserve, and it was to help a venue in Lyon, which was, of course, in a very hard financial difficulties because of COVID, and they are very good friends of us. So we wanted to release this track and give them the benefits of the track to help them as much as we could. And we released another track for Halloween, but it was just for fun this time.
Yeah.
And we just write new stuff, waiting for the occasion to be back on stage. We are still booking a lot of gigs. I think we are playing something like 9 festivals normally this summer, but of course I'm afraid that it will be cancelled. We also have a tour with Aborted in September for 5 weeks. And we are already working on an Asian tour for 2022. But of course, we know that there is a possibility that we have to cancel things one after the other, considering the situation. But let's keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, I'd like to think it'd get better. The
me
world
too.
fucking needs that aborted tour with you.
Oh, thanks, Bo.
So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate the time.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure for me too. And once again, I really, really hope we can tour back. We can be back on tour soon, because it's so fucking frustrating to have new tracks and not being able to promote them on stage.
Yeah, I bet that it's frustrating, because I mean, it's shutting down so many things, so many people, and it's sad to see, because there's so many bands and artists that were already on the cusp, like financially. And like that was sort of the make or break point. So it's really sad to see like so many bands and artists maybe never being able to come back. So
yeah,
I bet it's awesome to have a really supportive, great fan base. And Benighted's fan base is just insane. Great community of people.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we are very lucky about it. Yeah. And we want to thank them again, because without them, we of course, fortunately, Benighted is not our jobs, so we are not in a financial danger or something, but. It's very heartwarming to see how people are behind us, and the amazing way they support us all the time. So we are very thankful for that.
Yeah, for sure. So before we close this out, you got any closing thoughts, any plugs or final words you'd like to say?
Well, thank you very much for this interview, because it's always nice to talk about a new album that you want to promote so much. And let's cross our fingers that things will get back to a bit of normal soon, and that we will enjoy all these amazing things that we have with music, and hoping that not many people will lose their jobs or have to shut down their venue because of this shit. And I can't wait to be back on stage and party with all the friends and all the fans. So fingers crossed, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, for sure. Can't say it any better myself. So thank you so much for your time and being here. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you very much.
And thank you all for watching. Really appreciate it. Talk to you guys later.
Yeah, with pleasure. Bye-bye.
Farewell.